I saw wasn't human.
Oh my God!
It was very tall. What's more, it saw me. This thing.
Rawhead Rex.
This podcast is not safe for work and will feature movie spoilers. It will feature scenes described of a graphic nature. It will contain language which most listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. Welcome back to another instalment of Rawhead Rex in Pieces, a sub-series of the podcast Under the Stairs where we take the movie Rawhead Rex in all its glory from 1986. We dissect it, we parcel it into 5-minute bite-sized chunks, and then give it to podcasters from around the world to join me and discuss those 5 minutes. On this episode, ladies and gents, we're looking at minutes 5 through 10. Now, I should also add into the mix, this is Podcasts Under the Stairs, so there's an extra level of fuckery in here. That extra level is that the release order will not be linear, in that we have mixed up the release order of the minutes of the movie. So this could be the first episode you're listening to, this could be the last one, this could be somewhere in the middle. We're covering minutes 5 through 10 on this one. It will start at the moment where there is a man leaning on a tractor. It will close at the 10-minute mark when David Duke says it's for a book I'm writing. Joining me on this episode is, his sexy visage has just made this beginning intro all the more enjoyable. He is my colleague over at the Jaws is Shite and Other Regrettable Outbursts podcast. He is the host of the Scott and Liam vs. Evil podcast with the big sexy Scott. He is the phenomenally talented Liam Rafferty. How are you doing, Liam?
I'm not bad, but I can't believe I've got to watch Rawhead Rex just to talk to you again.
Right, so we spoke about this. Like, this is a great way to start off here. This is a movie that you told me off air was a movie that you had relatively fond memories of until this rewatch. Liam, what changed?
I think I actually was awake.
I guess this is what they call growing up. Yep.
I was completely compos mentis during this watch, and I'll tell you what, if each of these 5-minute little bites and chunks don't whet your appetite, then maybe I should just give a warning right from the very start. If this is the first episode you're listening to, don't bother watching this.
Don't listen to it.
Last. I'm sorry that it's
I'm going to argue against this because I've put a lot of effort into this. Please listen to the rest of the episodes. Watching the movie is optional, but please listen to the rest. It is a weird movie. We have to stress that. Rawhead Rex comes out in 1986. It's not quite like the movies that come out in 1986. It's one of the early adaptations of Clive Barker. This is like Barker at this point is like Stephen King has literally by this point written the sentence, I have seen the future of horror and his name is Clive Barker, and Rawhead Rex is the first proper adaptation. And if you're watching this movie, you're like that, Stephen King, there's something wrong with him. Now granted, Stephen King endorses fucking every movie now. That's his thing on Twitter. He's like that. You should go and see this scariest movie you'll see this year. And you watching it like, it's not Stephen. But yeah, this is one of these ones where we're speaking about off here. In a world where Rawhead Rex is marginally better than it is and doesn't fail on as many things as it does, Clive Barker doesn't make Hellraiser. And the history and the lineage and the shape of horror movies through the 90s is completely different. So, yeah, it's a bad movie. I would argue it's a very entertaining one. For all its flaws, it does a lot of things wrong, but those things wrong make me smile.
In a certain mood, yes, definitely.
Does that mood involve pharmaceuticals by any chance?
It could. Pharmaceuticals. It could just be maybe drinking with your friends. It could just be with friends. It could
it's
just
100% a beer movie. I've always said that. Like Rawhead Rex is, you get some friends round, you get some beers. You don't necessarily pay attention to everything that's happening on the screen, but when noise starts happening, you all look round, you all fucking cheer, and something happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, don't try and look for the hidden meaning in Rawhead Rex, because there isn't one. So Liam, what we're going to do is we're going to run through our 5 minutes here. At the end of it, I'm going to ask you if there's a particular line or a sequence within those 5 minutes that's really, just made you think, you know what, I'm glad I signed up for this series. Why are you laughing? So let's start off here. At minute number 5, there is a man leaning on a tractor. This man here has tried to remove what I've written here as a giant stone veiny cock from the ground, because that's what it is, a giant stony phallic symbol. Yep. He's tried to move it. His friends have left him. He's there. So he looks at it, and then we switch straight away to David Duke, who is taking a picture inside, he's outside the church at first when he hears his son calling for him. His son is a very annoying character who should die in this movie, but sadly doesn't. His son turns around, and David Duke starts taking pictures of his child, which I've marked in brackets here, is a bit weird, because one, he's taking pictures of his son in a graveyard, and maybe later on in this movie his son dies, and that's kind of foreboding. But also, this is a grown man taking a picture of a young child in church grounds, and I just wrote here it's a different time. Now, Liam, you are of a persuasion where you may be able to lean into this with past experiences. not to throw you under the bus, but the bus is going over you right now.
Before you accuse me of being a paedophile and taking pictures,
I was more thinking you were the child here.
To be fair, I actually loads of men used to take pictures of me. This guy, I think, is just taking pictures of his son before his son turns around and flies away to join the circus with those lugs.
He does have Dumbo
biggest ears I've ever seen in a child.
Oh, like you bring it back past trauma. Like in my primary 3 photograph at school, the photographer actually called me Dumbo because my ears were surprisingly large, and he called me that though when everyone laughed, which you could not do in 2023. Which is one of those things where like, oh, the good old days. I quite like the fact that a random photographer comes out of school and can't fucking mock you for your large ears. I'm all for 2023.
Imagine going home to his wife and being like, oh, absolutely slate it away in the day. You should have seen the ears on this.
You should have fucking seen him cry. He was howling. Wait to see it. In fact, I'll show you the pictures. Look at the lugs on this. Called him Dumbo, wee fanny.
I know I definitely used to get loads of pictures taking of me in graveyards. Far less clothing. Just as enticing.
Did you like Janet Jackson slipping it?
Oh yeah, man.
I
was actually going to sing the lyrics to that one Janet Jackson song I know, but I don't actually know the lyrics. I think I do, and I just kind of hum the tune like as if I'm actually saying words, so I'm not going to do it because I forgot we were recording.
I love everything that's happening right now. So David Duke says to his kid here, he asks his kid to smile. Kid doesn't want to because he's in a fucking graveyard and clearly isn't, in my words here. I'd obviously had a few drinks when I'd written this. Clearly isn't feeling sexy in that moment. I kind of feel a wee bit creepy for writing that.
As you should.
Yeah, I should be. Shame me. That's your job. Shame. Get the shame bell out. David Duke says, what's wrong? Kid says, Mum says it's going to rain and you have to stop taking those damn photographs. So, blasphemy on holy ground. Where is the lightning? Where is the fire and brimstone? Where is it? I'm not impressed. Not impressed. David Duke says, damn photographs? Question mark. And the kid says, just quoting, which I should do. Like, had I known as a kid I could have been like that, this is shit. And my mum was like, well, what? That like fucking slipper comes off and it's come towards me and what that. Just quoting what my brother said and get my brother in trouble. I would have done that all the time.
To be fair, I did up 1,000,000%. The dad's actually quite passive aggressive about this. Like, oh, is that what she said? Is that what your bitch mother said?
I only dragged her over here because I had to. Listen here, our marriage is on it's on a string right now, son. And will you tell me in these next 2 minutes decides whether or not you're going between us at Christmas or whether we're all under the same roof?
Do those ears look like my ears? I know whose boy you are.
You are not my son. We'll get fucking Maury in here and he'll do a fucking parental check here. Anyway, he's like, damn photographs. And the kid says, just quoting. Duke says, what would you say? And the kid says, I'd say I'm hungry. This kid has my blessing. I'm always hungry. It's not because I'm starved myself right now, because I'm about to go to Japan and I need to be thin to go to Japan, because if you're even remotely slightly fat, they point at you and call you sumo. So I don't want to be that guy. Duke says, what an entirely new response. I love that, like, David Duke in this one is constantly sarcastic to everyone. His kids, the clergy, the police, the monster. He's just like constant 100% peak David Duke snark. And he says, what an entirely new response from you. Okay, why don't you tell her about 10 minutes? The kid's like, she's mad with you. And he's like, tell her 5. I have to see someone in the church about a site, okay? And the kid's like, then can we go home? I'm bored. And David Duke says, how can you be bored? This is the land of your forefathers, which brings up that point again. For a country that is built on people that could not fucking wait to leave these shores, these fine shores, they seem to spend an inordinate amount of time, Liam, linking themselves back to these fine shores. What the fuck is up with that?
Since I do it, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure.
It's like all that thing, like, oh yeah, I'm 1/16 Scottish, which basically means you're not Scottish. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm 1/17 Irish on my mother's side. Well, technically that's like you're halving it again, so you're 1/34. So what we're doing here? Like you're American. No, you're American. Be proud of that. Claim your fucking
but you used to just try clutch to anything, didn't you? Just to have the cool MySpace status. Well, I'm 1/5 Italian, just so you know.
Like, you wiped out almost entirely an indigenous tribe, like a race of people in your, like, cling to that. I'm you know what? I'm American. Oh, say, can't you see? It's not fucking God Save the Queen, although they love a bit of Queenie action, even though she's now gone, and we have Charles Sausage Fingers Windsor. Anyway, like, bringing us back on point, which I will want to do on these reviews. Duke says, how can you be bored? This is the land of your forefathers. The kid says, yeah, and then they left, and I'm like, I'm with the fucking kid. I'm with Lugs. Me and Lugs. Like, me and Dumbo. High five. David looks at the graves, and then thunder happens overhead. Things are getting a bit serious. And then back at the farm, the farmer hears thunder and lightning and says, bastard! Which is I've suddenly realised should have been in an Irish accent, but I've done it in a Yorkshire accent. So we're just going to stick with it because I ain't editing out. My Irish accents on this one, Liam Rafferty, who has the most fucking Irish name of anyone that's been on these recordings, has been on point. You're going to love it later on.
I can't wait.
He reaches down, grabs a crowbar, wedges it underneath the giant stone cock, and then when he tries to pull it up, he starts to scream and steam comes from the earth. And all this is like intercut with the fucking verger making people sing hallelujah again, even though the song's finished. He's like, again, you bastards! And he makes them sing again. The farmer manages to wiggle the stone up, granted that a fucking tractor a tow cable, and 3 people couldn't move it. Now just with a crowbar he's found the strength. And it finally falls over, but at the point of it tipping, I've written here, at some point the tip of the stone dick, I was having a ball writing this, is struck by lightning, giving it a glowing purple hue at the head. This movie is a dirty bastard and clearly written by Clive Barker, who will know a penis if he sees it. The farmer is thrown back. In the church, a woman who is fixing the altar with flowers is suddenly overcome and drops the vase, or as the Americans say, drops the vase. Americans, it's vase. There's an A in there. And startles all the parishioners. The stone stoner, which was a little bit of alliteration I was proud with.
I enjoy that.
Thank you. Falls over and goes limp on the ground as we get the... honestly, I clearly didn't wank before fucking writing this. Falls over limp on the ground as we get the first, and I've written here, badass view of Rawhead Rex. See when he comes out the ground and the lightning striking and you're like, this monster looks cool. And then within 5 minutes of this movie, you get a front shot of him and you're like, this is bad.
This is terrible.
This is I've been sold a lemon.
This is a Halloween costume that you've bought at the till of the petrol station.
Someone please fix his cock eyes. Why are they crossed? So he jumps out the ground, his eyes glowing red as lightning strikes in the sky behind him, like I put here, like clearly a misspelling. It's written here like a White Iron Maiden music video. I don't know why the white's in there.
Just obviously a Freudian slip there.
Thanks, Liam. In the churchyard, Dukes is running around for shelter as the rain comes down hard. He walks into the church as one woman is comforting the woman who has dropped the vase and is now holding her hand like it's been burned. We're going to get some Irish accents here. She says, we should get you home. Butterfingers, as I've called her, says, I don't know what's come over me. And then she says, stop laughing at me. Shall we make a dash for it? And Butterfinger says, it felt like it was burning. And then the other woman says, come on. Which is about the best I get with it. They leave. I can see, I'm looking at your face as someone from the Emerald Isles. Like, obviously, historically. And I can see a wee tear welling up there as if I've just struck a nerve with your forefathers.
Oh, with that accent? Oh, it's best
authentic is the word you're looking for. Authentically bad. They leave as we cut to an interior shot of the church as David Duke enters the room. The Duke looks around and he sees a stained glass window, stopping at it, and it happens to be the one with the giant fucking hideous Rawhead Rex monster on it. Which, to be honest, if I walked into a church and I saw that, I'd be like, that, what the fuck?
What is going on? Who allowed that? Who said every face in this stained glass window I'm going to make look like a thumb, apart from the demon? I'm going to put that in 4K definition with tiny wee panes of glass.
Could this be Satan? Well, no, he's not got horns, so what the fuck is this beast? What is this satanic fucking red eye glowing bastard? Is he a Terminator? Maybe there's glowing red eyes. Like, I fucking love this. Like, basically, like, as this is happening and he's fucking in there and he's looking at the shot here, he's looking at the design of Rawhead Rex, and in the design, Rawhead Rex is in pain on the ground as someone in a red robe stands above him, holding a grey stone with light pouring out of it onto Rawhead's head. And then out of nowhere, the MVP, the Verger is the greatest fucking cat, Declan O'Brien, which is almost more Irish than Liam Rafferty, walks up behind him and says, can I help you? And he says, yeah, I hope so. I'm looking for the Reverend Coot. Am I saying that right? Coot? And the Verger says, that's right. But I'm not your man. I'm the Verger. And he says, oh, hi, I'm Howard Hallenbeck. And he says, Declan O'Brien. Because I'm going authentic here. And Duke says, tell me something. This Coot, he wouldn't happen to be old, would he? And he smiles. The worst joke ever. It's a dad joke. And the verger, like myself, does not smile back. Actually looks like disdain, as in like, you fat American bastard. You come over here with your Disney and your burgers and you try and change our town? How fucking dare you? Duke says, sorry, I talked to him a couple of weeks ago and he said that I might be able to look at the church. And the verger says, I see. And Duke says, it's for a book I'm writing, and end! That's the end of the 5 minutes. Now, I know what you're thinking, Liam. There is so much excitement in these 5 minutes here. It will be hard to answer the question I'm about to ask you, but I have to ask it. Is there a line or a segment that happens in these 5 minutes that stands out as your favourite?
It's got to be the one where the dad asks Slugs about the odd damned photos. That fucking right. You say that again. Come on, stand here and say that again.
You blaspheme on this holy ground again, you little bastard.
Yeah, like the movie's just kicked off. This guy, I wonder what he's taking pictures of. One with nature. This kid comes out of nowhere and bang, your mother's a bitch. What the fuck did she send you over to say? Just straight away. There's no need for the aggression. There's no need for it.
We're gonna get divorced and it's your fault.
Yeah. Go. Let me take my pic. I'm here to get peace. Let me take my pictures. Get out. You're a reminder of things.
You're a reminder of that one night that I drank a little bit too much, and you're here now. Mine's is I love the introduction of Rawhead Rex in this one because it is the promise of something that might be better that you don't quite get. It's like when he jumps at the ground and lightning's striking in the background and you get the profile shot of him, you're like, this is fucking metal as fuck. And the movie never really lives up to that after that. It's like the peak of the creature design on here is profile and wizardry in the background, and everything after that's kind of cockeyed and wrong. So yeah, that's my favourite thing. Now Liam, you're a busy guy. You work, you're a hard worker, but you occasionally podcast on a podcast with me, where we claimed we were going to do things more often this year, and that's not happened.
I know. I can't remember when the last one was.
But April. Pull that out of the archives. Yeah, April. And we didn't force a colleague of ours to spend his hard-earned wage rise on a computer and a brand new microphone that he's only used once since. We didn't do that to him. We would never do that to him. But you're on Jaws' Shite and Other Regrettable Outbursts. But you also have a fucking full archive of Scott and Liam versus Evil podcasts that people can go out and check out. Where can people find those episodes?
I would think possibly on Spotify and SoundCloud. We don't really upload much anymore because of Jaws' Shite. But we know a few people that have gone back and listening, and I keep getting texts like talking about different jokes. And I'm like,
I always go back and listen. Like at least once a month, I will go back and check 1 or 2 episodes from your archive. I fucking howl with laughter because a lot of them happened before I knew you, and contextually, I've heard the stories beyond that point, and that's what makes them fucking hilarious.
It's amazing that anyone thinks we can remember it. Like one of the guys will message Scott and be like, and answer 4 questions that Scott asked on the Scream episode. It's like, what are you talking about? Who are you? You maniac.
Steve Campbell and like Randy dies, and you're like, what? Just 4 fucking random statements.
So listen to that, and also just send us messages to make us do Jaws' Shite, because
it is coming back. We will do one before the end of the year because too much life has passed us by. It's at the point now that it almost feels like it would have to be a double episode because there's so much shit that's happened. So
yeah,
we will get to it, and I will allow you to pimp that again on your second recording, which we are not recording right after this one and releasing at a separate time. In theory, with the randomising of these episodes, they might actually fall back to back. You never fucking know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for checking out this episode of Rawhead Rex in Pieces. We will be back with another one real fucking soon, unless this is the last one, in which case you've already had all 17 episodes. So fuck off. I will speak to you next time.